Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, we would like to thank our lecturer, Mrs. Dr. Agustriyani SPDM Home, for her guidance and support. We are from Group 8, consisting of Ria Siti Mei Saroh, Nabiila Sumpenna P, Faiza, Zahra, Habibah, and myself, Sofi Agustriyani. In this video, we will present the result of our research report on a discourse analysis methodology entitled Exploring Science Teacher Questions Influence on the Students' Talk Productivity, a Classroom Discourse Analysis Approach. This presentation is organized into several main sections. There is introduction, literature review, methodology, discourse studies examples, discussion, lastly, conclusion. Next, we will move on to the first section on the introduction, which will be presented by Nabiila. Nabiila, please.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. The introduction. The first point is overview of qualitative research. A qualitative approach focuses on an in-depth understanding of social phenomena, not simply numbers or statistical data. This research seeks to explore the meanings, experience, and interaction that emerge in real-world context. And then the second point is definition and significance of case study methodology. Discourse analysis as part of qualitative methodology views language not only as a means of communication but also as a social practice that shapes ways of thinking, learning, and interacting. Through this approach, researchers can understand how meaning is constructed, negotiated in everyday conversation, including in the classroom. And then the last point is objectives and structure of the report. The purpose of this report is to examine how teacher question can influence students' speaking and activities in science learning, as demonstrated in research by Soisal. This report includes an introduction to qualitative research and discourse analysis, a review of the methodology and explanation of the key findings, and a discussion and reflection. With this structure, the report is expected to provide a clearer understanding of the role of discourse in the learning process. Next slide, please. Okay, the next slide is literature review. Have a 3 point. The first point is key points from the literature. Discourse studies view language not only as a means of communication, but also as a way of constructing meaning, power, and social relationship in the classroom. By analyzing language interaction, researchers can understand how teachers and students communicate and identify effective communication patterns to increase student participation. And then the second point is relevant theory and concept. Language in the classroom not only conveys information, but also shapes students' thinking and ideologies. Teachers play a crucial role through language strategies, such as questioning, discussions, and discursive movies. In other words, the way teachers use language significantly influences the quality of learning interaction. And then last the last point is example from previous case study. Rahmawati demonstrated that effective communication partners increase student participation, and then the Soysal and Soysal emphasize that teacher strategies encourage cognitive contribution, and Oliveira found that teacher questioning strange student engagement. That's all for me. The next slide will be presented by Ria.
Okay, thank you, Nabiila. The next about methodology. The first is overview of discourse studies methodology. This study used a discourse studies approach to analyze science learning interaction in the classroom. This approach views discourse as a social construction that is full of meaning and power, particularly how teacher question can influence student participation and understanding. And for the data collection, the data was collected through video recording to capture verbal and nonverbal language during the learning process, field notes to document the social context, and semi-structured interview to explore their questioning strategies and perception of classroom discourse. And for the data analysis, the analysis was conducted using discourse analysis, which examines language in context. The data was coded to mark important parts such as question, answer, or interaction patterns. And from there, researchers identified themes and meanings to see how language shape understanding, relationship, and social processes in classroom communication. Next slide, please. Okay, for discourse studies example, for a specific case study, the study examines how science teacher questioning strategies can influence student productivity in the classroom. And using a classroom discourse analysis approach, discourse is viewed as a meaningful social construct whereby teacher-student interaction play a significant role in shaping student understanding and participation. And the main focus of the study is the relationship between the types of questions asked by teachers and the level of cognitive engagement of students during argumentation-based inquiry or ABI activities. And for the research method applied in this study is the data were collected through video recording of 5 science lesson, conversation, transcript, and notes on verbal and nonverbal interaction. And the analysis used the teacher question coding catalog or TQCC, and this is to classify question and derives Blossom taxonomy or RBT to assess the cognitive level of student answer. And the last, for the key findings, the results show that the type of teacher question greatly affect the quality of student discussion. Simple question only elicit low-level responses, while questions that require justification, evaluation, or argumentation encourage students to give a higher level response. And the highest productivity was seen in the topic of shadow formation and change of state. Thus, plain and responsive variation in teacher question can create deeper dialogue and increase student cognitive engagement. Maybe that's all for me. The next slide will be delivered by Faiza.
All right, we move to discussion. The first one is interpretation of the result. I will discuss the key findings from the discourse study. The results shows that the way teachers ask questions has a strong influence on how students speak and think. Questions such as legitimacy, discrepant, and justifiable were found to encourage higher order thinking and more active discussion. On the other hand, eliciting method talk and process focused questions were less effective in stimulating deeper reasoning. And then the implication for qualitative research is that we should not only focus on the learning content, but also pay attention to classroom interactions. Discourse analysis allows researchers to gain a detailed picture of how learning unfolds naturally in the classroom. And then this method also has its in strengths and limitations. Its main strength is the ability to capture in-depth teachers student interactions and the cognitive process behind them. However, since discourse patterns are context dependent, the findings are difficult to generalize across all uh, classrooms. Even so, the insights can be adapted to other subjects such as language classes, and they provide a strong basis for developing teacher training in effective questioning strategies. And that's all. I give back to Sophie.
Okay, thank you everyone for all the explaining. Now I will conclude a conclusion. In conclusion, from this study, we can conclude that the way teachers ask questions has a strong influence on students' productivity and in speaking and thinking, especially legitimate, discrepant, and justified questions are proven to stimulate students' critical thinking. While classroom discourse analysis as both a social and cognitive process, qualitative studies also highlight the complexity of classroom interaction. For future research, it is recommended to expand the context, test the findings across different grade levels and school environments, and also examine how teacher training in questioning strategies might impact long-term learning outcomes. With these steps, we can strengthen the understanding of how strategic teacher questions can encourage students' productivity in classroom learning. And this is for our references. That's all for our presentation. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.